I'd like to talk to you all today about an idea. And that idea is a real simple one. It's about taking an unconventional path and finding your own leadership. I could sum it up right now for all of you in 2 words. Well, actually 1. It's normal. For me, it's just normal. It's about expressing yourself, being true to yourself. But I know we're all told there's paths. Society has definitions. It has rules. We're told you go A to Z to succeed. And that works for a lot of you. But then there's me. And it just doesn't work. And there's a lot of you here today, too, I think. For me, I'll be honest. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. And I can tell you, I never had a defined path, ever. I still don't know if I do. But I do know, when I was 15, I had a goal. And I sat there one day, and I was thinking really hard, like, okay, I need a goal. And, and it came out real simple to me. And it was, my goal was, I want to do what I want to do it when I want, and I want to do it how I want. And that seemed really smart. Some people told me it was a little, selfish maybe, but I think I was just being honest. I was being honest to myself. And honesty goes a long way in creating your path. And let's face it, people they're drawn to honesty. They like it. So for me, every day, it was starting to look for something I found exciting, something fulfilling, whatever that might be. And at 15, that was about a dream of mine. And that dream was, I want to see the world, the entire world. A little dream. So I figured it out. And I came home, and I explained to my parents that next summer, I'm going to take my bike, I'm going to stay in hostels, I'm going to go for a month in Europe, and I knew everything, how I was going to be able to do it. And then I added, oh, but by the way, Mom, Dad, you're not going. And it's a true story, and you can imagine the hurdles they put in front of me on going at 15 without them. But I did it. I did it because I faced every hurdle they threw in front of me, because I simply said a simple question to myself over and over, why not? Why not? I can do this. And I want to do it. And so I did. To me, it was about dreams. It was about passions. And if you think about it, we're all told to follow your dreams and passions at an early age. But somewhere along the way, so many of us don't. We just stop. And why do we? Are we giving in to fear? Because let's face it, it's real easy to give in to fear. All you have to do is say, I can't do that. What would they think? That's just impossible for me to be able to do that. Someone like me could never do that. It's real easy to give in to fear. But I think on the other side, if you fear it, you really want to do it. And you have to face your fears. And I'll be honest, right now, I'm full of fear. This is not normal for me, to stand in front of all of you and talk. But I knew I had a little story that I wanted to share. And I knew I had to take a risk to do it because I wanted to do it. And you have to be a risk taker. You have to face your fears and take those risks. And through risk does come reward, even though it sounds corny. It's true. So anyway, I think a lot of you here do have your paths mapped out. Some of you already know where you're going next. You have grad school lined up. You have an internship. Some of you already have your job. You're very clear on your path. And I think that's great. But I suspect, looking out here today, that there's a number of you that are in the same position I was in '79 when I graduated with my diploma. And I thought, right before I walked across that stage to get it, what the hell am I going to do now? The party's over. And I didn't know. I did know one thing, though, and I knew, damn it, this isn't me. This is not my degree. This is the degree that I had been steered towards. It was the one that was expected. It was the one the family said, you're good at numbers, go that way. Yeah, I'm good at numbers, but it wasn't me. So I knew in that instant, I needed to take control of my life. I had to get back on my path of doing what I wanted. So I took my diploma, and I packed up my car, and I took off, and I went to Hollywood. And I did the complete opposite. I enrolled in an acting class because I thought, well, that's a dream and a passion. I'm going to be an actor. And I hit a huge roadblock in Hollywood, too. And it was me personally. I had to face myself, my identity, the identity that I am a gay man. And I took it on full force, and I was really proud of it then, and I'm still proud today. But that took a lot of courage, and it took a lot of confidence to do that. It also took a lot of courage for me to say, I'm going to quit acting, which you should all be happy about. Because it wasn't for me. It was not for me. But I had the courage and confidence to say, yes, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to try it. And I also had the courage and confidence to say, it's not the right fit anymore. That's not my dream. But at least I tried, rather than not. I did face the fear. So with that career over, I packed up again. And this time I thought, well, what is my biggest dream in my life and my passion? And that is the world. So I thought the smartest thing to do was I bought a one-way ticket around the world. And I took off. And I spent 7 months, and I did what I want, when I want, and how I want. And I recommend you all try it. Not to say go around the world, but do what you want. You might like it. And it is a scary thought, but it is fun, and it's worth it. But after 7 months, I did have to come back. Had a little thing called visa bill. But I came back, got a few jobs, and I thought, okay, now it's time to get serious and get a job. And I did. I got a few little jobs. And I saved my money up again because I thought, no, we're just not going in that cubicle. Can't do it. And I bought another one-way ticket, and this time took off for Paris. And I stayed there for 2 years, and it was two very self-defining years for me. Defining first, I got my first glimpse into the fashion industry. And if you want to learn about fashion, I say take off, go to Paris Fashion Week, go to that back door of the show and talk your way in, grab some clothes off a rack, and just go stand with those models, and then just walk a catwalk. Come back, drink a little champagne with everybody, and celebrate. Because I did that my very first week. And I did it because I was going to take a risk. And I said, why not? And I had a blast. It's a good party. But I also knew that I was getting this passion for that industry. It's also self-defining also, as I had a part-time job there as a garçon au pair, which is basically a part-time nanny here. And it was a very rare job for a male back then to get. And I was in charge of a 3-year-old girl and a brand new little boy who had just been born. And I learned really quick the world did not revolve around me. They were first. And the little boy, he got very sick, and he ended up in the hospital, and he actually almost died. So it kind of changed my whole direction and made me realize he was first, and I became part of a team because all I cared about was nursing him back to health because I wanted that little boy to be able to follow his dreams and his passions. And I can say he is. He's doing just fine. But out of that, I learned a lesson about compassion. Compassion for others. The compassion, put someone in front. Listen to them, hear their needs, and it's not always about you. And I still do that today. I give back a lot. I do a lot of volunteering. But it's, you don't want to lose your humanity in whatever you do. That was really important to me. So 2 years came to an end, and I was turning 30. For some of you, you might call it my Saturn return. I called it a one-way ticket. And this time I ended up in Seattle. It was 87. And I thought, okay, now we really need to do something. And I thought about it. I thought, what have I learned? I learned I love to travel. I do it well. I can communicate well. I can talk to pretty much anybody, different cultures, backgrounds. I can negotiate through any situation very well. Definitely had the gift of gab. And last I knew, I really had a passion, and it was fashion industry. So I put all this together, and I learned Seattle did have an industry in fashion. And I thought, well, I'm going to do it. So I went out, and I just started pounding on doors, all the mall agencies. I said, guess what? I'm Eric. I just got here from Paris, and I'm a fashion stylist. And those doors slammed right in my face. So you got to get used to that if you're going to be a little unconventional. But I never gave up, because every time they slammed that door, I heard what they were saying. I always listened. I listened to what they wanted, and I'd go out and I'd adapt it. And I would come back and I'd just pound on that door again and say, here it is. Here's what you want. And then they would say something else, and I'd go out and I'd do it again and again. And it was that perseverance that eventually the door opened. And 1 year later, I was doing it. I had my first agent, I had my first client, and I was a fashion stylist. And I worked it and eventually became the fashion producer, working for a lot of companies around here and actually falling in, luckily, into the grunge rock and roll scene, working with the bands. And I was on cloud 9, of course. But most of all, I knew that I just didn't want to give up, and I followed my dreams and my passions. Now, first of all, I don't want you to think it's easy. It's not. It never was easy, my path. I was full of self-doubt throughout the whole thing. And you can ask my friends and family. There wasn't a lot of support. I was holding down 2, 3, sometimes 4 jobs. But I was doing it because I couldn't do anything else, because I just had that goal out there. And I would even say at 30, I even got to be called a loser. I was called, I wasted my life. And I just sat back and I thought, no, they just don't know. They don't know me, and they're uncomfortable because I'm not following a path they know. So with confidence, I continued on, because I knew if I turned away from my dreams and my passions, that would be much worse and more painful than the anxiety and pain I was feeling from all my self-doubt. So basically, you say the same man who said, what the hell he's going to do, was doing it. I was actually traveling all over. I was negotiating contracts. I was scouting locations. I was working with some of the most interesting, creative people out there. My whole job was to negotiate through it and get everybody focused on the main goal, which is a successful ad campaign. And I basically realized I produced my life into producing my job. And I did it just because I had just figured some simple rules along the way. I was being honest to myself, and I did face it with all my fears with courage and confidence. And I was being that risk taker, and I did it through perseverance by listening and adapting. But most of all, I never lost my compassion for those around me. It wasn't always about me. And last, I always said, why not? Why not? You can do it. So I do have a lot of passions still, and one of them was real estate, because I can't have one career. Because I get bored. So, in 2003, I took off in real estate, and I'm very successful in that as a managing broker, and I did it with the same ideas as I approached everything else. I followed my dreams and my passions, and I found my success, because I didn't say I couldn't do it. I didn't give them up. So, if an unconventional path to your own leadership, I'll be honest, it is very difficult. People don't really support it because it's not a path they know. You will face a lot of roadblocks, but those will also probably be the most exciting moments in your life because you're achieving your goals. You do have to fight for what you want, but you can do it. Anyone can do it. And you just have to have some simple ideas. I really believe you have to be honest to yourself. And you do need to say, why not? Be that risk taker and face your fears, and do it with courage and confidence. Most of all, though, don't forget to be compassionate for others, because it isn't about you. And you do persevere and listen and adapt. And you'll find that you can succeed, and you will find your dreams come true. Those of us who've taken the unconventional path, and there's many, I'm not the only, and I think they would all say the exact same thing, though, and that is, I wouldn't have done it any other way because I didn't know any other way. I just knew one way. And you can say it's unconventional, to make your own path and to your own leadership. Or, as like I said before, you can call it normal. Why not? That's what I did. So looking back, I would say it was all those burning desires within me that always pushed me forward to the next big adventure. And like I said, my story is only one of many, but I want to put it out there. Question for all of you. And that is, I really want to know what your unconventional path to your own leadership is going to be. What are your dreams and what are your passions? I really want to know. Let me know. I will be your biggest fan. Thank you.